it is a tight race like this, what's going on behind the scenes? When it was your campaign, what was going on?
It's a fascinating process, and from the candidate perspective, we had done so much groundwork beforehand that we knew exactly who the solid delegates were, who the movable delegates were, who those that were maybe not quite as convinced about their choice, who we had to hold, who we could persuade, and so there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of IDing district by district, who switched their votes. And you'll see all the candidates moving around and scattering around in their surrogates, looking for those unidentified delegates or the ones that are soft, maybe with somebody who just switched in this last ballot because they're obviously looking for a home. So there's people with headsets and pieces of paper that are moving around, and there's back rooms that are for all the campaigns that are working on this stuff. So it's quite a process. We had a mini version of that at our convention. But this is quite a show. Part of that too, to be honest with you, and what we found was the candidates here are measuring the strength of the campaign by how they deal with this today, by how the back room works, by how they're able to react to some of the changes in delegates. It shows that you're organized. It shows that you know what it takes to actually win a campaign, that you know how to run a field operation. So, there's some delegates that are looking at that right now, too.
Is it more fun to observe the process than being involved?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
A little less nerve-wracking, I suppose.
And going through it a couple weeks ago, because I had confidence in my campaign staff, because I had confidence in the work that we had done beforehand, and because of the phone calls that I had made to every delegate and got to know them and knew who they were and if they were solid or persuadable. There's kind of a calm that you come with, that you know what's going on, you know what the lay of the land is, you know who you need to talk to, and you just kind of go and do it, and you show a calm confidence. That's a very important part of it. So let the staff scurry and just kind of show that calm confidence that it's going to get done.
The Zen of endorsement.
The Zen. There's a new book I'm going to write after this. The Zen of endorsements. There we go.
Well, let's talk about you've got the
Yes.
endorsement now. Your opponent in the fall is Erik Paulsen, and Erik Paulsen, a first-term congressman who is taking over what many people still refer to as Jim Ramstad's seat. He held it for so long. What is his fall campaign going to look like?
Well, you hit on a theme that we've been hearing not only from Democrats but from independents and Republicans, that after being in office now for a year, after being in his first term, after running on a campaign that really put him next in line from Frenzel to Ramstad, then Erik Paulsen being in that same mode, he's shown that he's not. And people are recognizing that he's not in that same mold. He's not
all but one county has turned in their votes.
Moderate, independent, relevant voice in the discussions that are going on in Washington right now. He's a safe Republican vote. We haven't had that. We haven't had a safe vote in the district for decades. Somebody that the other side hasn't come to and said, we want you to be part of our coalition. We want your help on this legislation. This is tough stuff we're dealing with, and your voice is important. We've lost that. That's something that we'll talk about a lot, and then we'll talk a lot about, and you'll hear this, that we have difficult problems that are facing this country. We have strong challenges that we need to deal with, and we've lost that relevant voice that says, that first looks at what needs to get done, instead of first looking at what we shouldn't do to help people, how we should set our limits before we look at the problems that need to get solved, how we talk about, we've got a congressman now who likes to talk about the size of government, the role of government. Well, frankly, it doesn't have a size. It should be flexible. It should be nimble. It's a tool for us to use. You have to start from that context, and he can't do that. So that's something that Jim Ramstad could do. That's something that I've always done, wherever I've worked, whatever I've done. You look at what problem needs to get solved, then you figure out the best way to do it. And you be flexible in finding ways to do that. That's what we're going to talk about a lot in this.
Now, I think what's happened a lot here is that some people have lost confidence in government, and that's been, I think, part of the drumbeat of the Republican Party, saying, let's make government as small as we can, drown it in the bathtub, to quote somebody from that party. And the Tea Party here, I think the Tea Party folks that are out there, I think they've absolutely lost confidence in government. How do we win those people back?
Well, first of all, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I mean, look at what Tim Pawlenty has done to this state. Look at what George Bush tried to do to the country. When you say that government's bad and you're in control, you will make it bad. You will make it ineffective. I mean, look at what happened to us in New Orleans with Katrina. We couldn't even help our own people because we had been beating that drumbeat since Reagan about government being bad, government being evil. Well, as I said earlier, and as the Constitution says, it's we the people looking for a way to solve problems together. That's the voice that we need to bring back to Congress, and we need to remind people of from this district. When all you want to do is say government's bad, and you look for ways to undermine it, you will do it. And then government will be ineffective. But what we do also when we say that is we undermine our schools. We undermine our ability to take care of each other. We undermine our ability to defend our country, to build roads, to rebuild infrastructure, to protect our investments and our homes, have regulation that makes sense. We lose those things, which really do help us live better lives and help each other.
Let's talk about one of the things that really influences congressional races, and that's money. You can't live with it, but you can't live without it, I guess is one way of putting it. You need money to make a campaign run, and people tend to judge things by how much money is raised. In Minnesota right now, we have one race, and that's the 6th congressional district, that some people are saying is sucking all the air out of the room because people across the country either love or hate Michelle Bachmann. She's a lightning rod, and so Terrell Clark and her predecessor here last year running against Michelle Bachmann, L. Tinklenberg, can fundraise on that. Does that make it more difficult for you to fundraise?
Well, Michelle Bachmann sucks the oxygen out of the room too, and out of what people say and think. It's an incredible thing. No, it doesn't. I mean, a lot of people are focusing their attention on that race, but a lot of people here, we hear on the floor here, and what we've been hearing in the last few weeks in particular, is a lot of attention being paid to our race, frankly, from this fall. This is one of, I think, 5 districts in the country where President Obama won, and a Republican won the congressional seat and an open seat in the last election. It's a swing district. People are recognizing, too, that even though Erik Paulsen may not be as loud as Michelle Bachmann, he votes the same way 94% of the time. He does the same things. He believes the same things. And in some ways, maybe that's a little more dangerous. But people are recognizing that they are very similar. I mean, when he stood up with Sarah Palin and held up his version of the Constitution and, stood on stage with her, he forgot that the Constitution begins we the people and not I the person. I mean, those are things that we're really going to key on. But no, people are paying attention to our race. Frankly, we have more money now than Tim Walz did before he beat Bill Gutknecht. A lot of people look at this race, frankly, like that. We outspent, remember this, in 2008, Ashwin Medea and the Democrats, we outspent Erik Paulsen and the Republicans 3-1. So we don't need to raise as much money as Erik Paulsen does. Frankly, he has a lot of money, and he will, because that's all he needs to do now. He doesn't need to govern. He's just out there raising money. We will have enough money to win this race. We will have enough money to win this race on the ground, in the field, by connecting with communities, by connecting with people, by lifting up communities and empowering people throughout the district. We will win it that way.
You used the phrase, we the people, and I'm going to jump to one of my pet peeve issues here, which was a recent Supreme Court ruling that said that we the people also includes we the corporations. Corporations are people too. This is something that it's affecting political funding, political campaigning, but I think it's a significant statement on where we are as a country. Do you think Congress should do something about that, and if so, what?
We need a constitutional amendment that says a corporation does not equal a person. I mean, voice, the ability to vote is all one person. Freedom of speech goes to an individual. We have got to have a constitutional amendment that says when it comes to what we're doing here today, when it comes to the voting booth, when it comes to influencing elections, a corporation does not equal a person. There's nothing short of that we must do.
Well, any other issues you want to touch on here? Well, we've got a little time before we have the next speaker in the next ballot.
Well, I'll tell you one last thought about this race. This race is so critical because for us, I mean, the 3rd district really is the only battleground in this state. It's a true swing district. It's a district where we can win a congressional seat. We can get over 50% to elect a DFL governor. We've got a lot of DFL legislators that are from our district that we can send back to St. Paul, and some great candidates that we can elect too. So it is a true swing district. That's why, to me, what happens here and the candidate that gets endorsed is so important, because I'm looking forward to having a very strong ticket that does talk about we the people, that talks about how we empower people's lives, about how we improve people's lives, about how we get government, whether it's big or small, working for us again. That's why this is so important. That's what we're going to talk about in this race.
Well, Jim Meffert, thank you
Thanks,
so
Mike.
much for dropping on by. And
Anytime.
I hope we're not seeing you here at the wee hours of the morning, but maybe we will. So we'll.
I wouldn't mind that either.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.